Think about every wealthy person you've ever admired: the entrepreneur who built a $1 billion business, the investor who quietly turned thousands into millions, the business owner who spent years building some of them from the ground up. Now ask yourself one question: who was standing beside them while they were building it? We spend so much time talking about the books successful people read, the investments they made, the businesses they started, the habits that made them successful. But there's one factor that almost nobody talks about: the person they chose to build their life with. Because whether you realize it or not, the person closest to you has the power to influence almost every financial decision you'll ever make. They influence how you spend, how you save, whether you invest, whether you start a business, how you handle setbacks, and even how long you're willing to stay committed to your goals. The right partner can challenge you to grow, encourage you when things get difficult, and help you build a life that's bigger than anything you could have built alone. The wrong partner can slowly pull you away from your goals, not always through one big decision, but through hundreds of small ones that add up over time. That's why this isn't just a relationship decision. It's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. In this video, we're going to talk about why your choice of partner can shape your wealth, your business, your investments, your spending habits, and ultimately, the future you build for yourself. Let's get into it. Most people think choosing a partner is an emotional decision. And don't get me wrong, it is. Love, trust, respect, loyalty, those things are the foundation of any healthy relationship. But what many people don't realize is that choosing a partner is also one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. Think about it. Once you decide to build a life with someone, your decisions are no longer just your own: the house you buy, the city you live in, whether you save or spend, whether you invest or avoid investing, whether you start that business you've always dreamed about, even when you retire. All of those decisions are influenced by the person you're building your life with. That's why two people can earn the exact same income and end up in completely different financial situations. One couple uses every raise to buy a bigger house, finance a newer car, and upgrade their lifestyle. The other couple uses those same raises to invest more money, pay off debt, build businesses, and buy assets that create even more income. Neither couple became wealthy or broke overnight. Their futures were shaped by thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. And that's how wealth is usually built or lost, not through one massive decision, but through the little choices you make every single day. That's why financial compatibility isn't about agreeing on every single purchase. It's about agreeing on the direction you're trying to go. Are you both willing to make sacrifices today for a better tomorrow? Do you both believe in living below your means? Do you both value investing in your future instead of trying to impress strangers? Do you both understand that real wealth is built patiently, not instantly? Because if one person is trying to build the future while the other is constantly living only for today, eventually someone is going to feel like they're rowing the boat alone. The strongest relationships aren't built because two people always agree. They're built because two people share the same vision. And when two people are working toward the same future, every decision becomes another step in the same direction. That's when your relationship stops being just a partnership and starts becoming one of your greatest financial advantages. There's a quote that says, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." I think there's a lot of truth to that, because the people you spend the most time with shape the way you think, the way you act, and the decisions you make every single day. And there's nobody you'll spend more time with than your life partner. That's why their habits eventually become part of your environment. If they're disciplined, you'll naturally become more disciplined. If they're constantly learning, you'll probably start learning more too. If they believe in investing, building businesses, and thinking long term, those conversations become normal in your home. But the opposite is true as well. If every conversation revolves around buying more things, keeping up with everyone else, spending every raise, or living paycheck to paycheck, before long that starts to feel normal too. Here's something I want you to think about. Imagine two couples making exactly the same amount of money. Every Friday night, one couple goes out shopping because they're bored. They leave the mall with bags full of things they'll probably forget about a few months later. The other couple spends Friday night reviewing their budget, talking about their goals, researching investments, or brainstorming ways to increase their income. Maybe they're planning their first rental property. Maybe they're mapping out a business idea. Maybe they're learning a new skill that could help them earn more in the future. Neither couple is doing anything extreme. They're just spending their time differently. Fast forward 10 years. Do you think their financial lives are going to look the same? Probably not. And it won't be because one couple got lucky. It'll be because their daily habits took them in different directions. Success isn't usually built in one big moment. It's built in the ordinary moments that most people overlook. The conversations you have, the habits you repeat, the decisions you make when nobody's watching. That's why choosing the right partner is about so much more than finding someone you enjoy spending time with. It's about finding someone whose habits make you better, someone who challenges you to grow, someone who reminds you of your goals when life gets distracting, and someone who's willing to grow alongside you instead of holding you back. Because when two people are constantly pushing each other to become better, they're not just improving their relationship, they're building a future that's stronger than either one of them could have built alone. Here's something I don't think gets talked about enough. Everybody wants to celebrate success, but very few people talk about what it takes to get there. Building wealth isn't easy. Starting a business isn't easy. Investing isn't easy. There are going to be months where your investments lose value. There are going to be days where your business makes less money than you expected. There are going to be moments where you question whether all the hard work is even worth it. That's exactly why having the right support system matters. Because when life gets difficult, your partner can either become your biggest source of strength or your biggest source of stress. Imagine coming home after a tough day. Your business just lost a client. Your investment portfolio is down. You're frustrated. You're questioning yourself. In that moment, what kind of person do you want sitting across the table from you? Someone who says, maybe you should just quit. I told you it wasn't going to work. Why don't you just give up? Or someone who looks you in the eye and says, we've come too far to stop now. We'll figure this out. I believe in you. Never underestimate how powerful those words can be. Sometimes the difference between someone giving up and someone pushing forward is knowing they don't have to carry the weight alone. That's what real partnership looks like. It isn't just about splitting bills or sharing a home. It's about carrying each other through the seasons that nobody posts on social media. The late nights, the uncertainty, the setbacks, the sacrifices. Because anyone can stand beside you when everything is going well. The real test is who stays beside you when things aren't. Those are the people who help build businesses. Those are the people who help build wealth. Those are the people who help build legacies. At the end of the day, success is rarely a solo journey. Behind almost every great achievement is a support system that kept someone moving forward when quitting would have been the easier option. And that's why the right partner doesn't just make life better. They make the climb a whole lot easier. So what does this actually look like in real life? It starts with having conversations that most people avoid, not because they're fun, but because they're important. If you're serious about building a future with someone, you shouldn't only be talking about where you want to travel or what house you want to buy. You should be talking about how you're going to get there. Ask questions like, what does financial freedom look like to you? Do you believe in investing? How do you feel about debt? Would you rather spend more today or save more for tomorrow? Do you want to own a business one day? What kind of life are we trying to build together? Those conversations might not seem exciting in the moment, but they can save you years of frustration down the road. Because when two people have completely different expectations about money, those differences eventually show up in everyday life. One person wants to save, the other wants to spend. One person wants to invest, the other thinks it's too risky. One person wants to build a business, the other only wants stability. Again, neither person is necessarily wrong. They just have different visions for the future. And that's why communication is so important. The goal isn't to win every argument. The goal is to understand each other well enough to make decisions as a team. Because at the end of the day, money isn't really the issue. Money simply reveals your priorities. It reveals what you value. It reveals what you're willing to sacrifice for. And when two people have a shared vision, money stops becoming something that constantly pulls them apart. and starts becoming a tool that helps them build the life they've both been working toward. That's what financially healthy relationships look like. Not perfect people, not perfect finances. Just two people who trust each other, communicate honestly, and keep making decisions that move them closer to the same destination. Because when your relationship is built on a shared vision instead of constant conflict, every dollar has a purpose, every sacrifice has meaning, and every step forward feels like a victory you earned together. At the end of the day, this video isn't about telling you who to date. It's about reminding you that the people you allow closest to you have a tremendous influence on the life you build. The truth is, money comes and goes. The stock market will rise and fall. Businesses will have good years and bad years. You'll make great financial decisions, and you'll probably make a few bad ones too. That's just part of life. But the person standing beside you through all of it can make those challenges feel either a whole lot heavier or a whole lot lighter. The right partner won't guarantee that you'll become wealthy. They'll never guarantee that your business succeeds. They won't guarantee that every investment you make turns into a winner, but they can give you something that's just as valuable. A teammate, someone who believes in the vision when the results haven't shown up yet. Someone who's willing to sacrifice today so both of you can have a better tomorrow. Someone who celebrates your wins without competing with them. Someone who reminds you why you started when you begin to doubt yourself. Someone who's building alongside you instead of simply watching from the sidelines. Because here's the reality. Building wealth isn't just about making more money. It's about building the right habits, making smart decisions, thinking long term, staying disciplined when it's easier to quit, and surrounding yourself with people who bring out the best in you. That's true in business, that's true in investing, and it's especially true in relationships. So before you spend years studying stocks, before you obsess over the perfect business idea, before you chase your next promotion, take a moment to think about who's walking that journey with you. Because one of the greatest investments you'll ever make isn't found on the stock market. It isn't a piece of real estate, and it isn't the business you start. It's choosing someone who shares your values, believes in your vision, and is willing to build a meaningful life right alongside you. Because when two people are committed to growing together, supporting each other, and making smart decisions over the long term, they're not just building wealth, they're building a legacy. And in the end, that's the kind of investment that pays dividends for the rest of your life.